Let everything else fade for just a moment. Because if you're hearing these words, if you didn't scroll past this, it's not an accident. This message found you because you called it in. Not consciously maybe, but deep in your soul. Something inside of you, something powerful, whispered for a sign, and here it is. You didn't stumble here because you were bored. You didn't click this by mistake. This is alignment. This is confirmation. You've been asking, wondering, praying, maybe not with words, but with your energy. You've been thinking thoughts you never said out loud. You've been carrying questions no one knows you have. And the universe heard every single one. Lately, you felt something shifting. It might have been subtle, like a quiet restlessness, like something deep inside you whispering, "There's more." And you wondered if you were imagining it, if you were making it up. But you weren't. This is real. This is your sign that something is happening behind the scenes, something bigger than you can see right now. You've been doing the work. Maybe you think you haven't done enough. Maybe you think you've been failing. But listen to me. Every choice you made to heal, every time you said no when you used to say yes, every time you chose rest over chaos, peace over drama, self-respect over old patterns, it all mattered. Those moments counted. They planted seeds. And now, those seeds are breaking the surface, even if you can't see the blooms yet. You've been tested. Life threw storms at you, didn't it? Days where you wondered if you could keep going. Nights where your pillow held tears nobody saw. Moments where you almost gave up, but you didn't. You held on. And that matters more than you know. Because it's not about being perfect. It's about staying when everything in you wants to quit. It's about taking one small step when your mind screams it's pointless. That's strength. That's courage. And that's why you're here. This message is a mirror, a reflection of where you are right now. And do you know what it says? It says you're not behind. You're not lost. You're not late. You are exactly where you need to be, even if it feels uncertain. Because the truth is, transformation doesn't always announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it comes as quiet nudges, subtle shifts, doors closing that you didn't want to close, things falling apart that you try to hold together. And you think that means failure, but it doesn't. It means clearing. It means space is being made for something better. Pause for a second and feel this. You're not the same person you were last year. Maybe not even last month. Think about the choices you've made, the boundaries you've set, the moments you said, "I deserve more than this." That is growth. That is evolution. And maybe the world hasn't caught up yet, but it will. Because energy always leads and reality always follows. You've been conditioned to believe that if you can't see progress, there is none. But that's a lie. Real change starts in the invisible. It starts in your mind, in your habits, in your energy. And that's what's happening now. That's why you found this message. Because the universe is saying, don't give up now. You're closer than you think. You didn't call this in because you're desperate. You called this in because you're ready. Ready to stop chasing what isn't aligned. Ready to let go of proving, forcing, begging. Ready to trust that what's meant for you will not miss you. And it won't. Not now. Not ever. If you've been asking for confirmation, this is it. If you've been wondering if your manifestations are working, this is your sign. They are. If you've been questioning if the timing is right, hear me. The timing is perfect. The pieces are falling into place, even if you can't see the full picture yet. The fact that you're listening to this, the fact that these words feel like they were written for you, is proof. You are in alignment. And alignment doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means you're tuned in. It means your energy and your intention are working together. It means the shift you've been feeling is real and unstoppable. So breathe. Stop worrying about what hasn't happened yet. Stop doubting the whispers in your soul. They're not random. They're guidance. They're the pull toward the life you've been asking for. And right now, as you hear this, you are closer than ever. Closer than you realize. This is not a coincidence. This is not an accident. This is your sign. You attracted this message for a reason. Let that sink in. Let it remind you of your power. Because the truth is, nothing is random when you're aligned. And you're aligned right now. Stay with me. Because in the next part, we're going deeper. We're going to talk about what this shift really means, why you've been feeling different, and why the things that used to make sense suddenly don't anymore. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You're awakening. and everything is about to change. Something inside you has been whispering. You've felt it for a while now, even if you didn't fully understand it. A sense that you're not the same person you used to be. That things you once tolerated now feel heavy. That conversations you once enjoyed now feel shallow. That habits you once clung to now feel like chains. This isn't just a mood. It's not just a phase. This is a shift, a deep, irreversible, energetic shift. And it's happening because you've outgrown an old version of yourself. You've outgrown the life that kept you small. Think back for a moment. Just 6 months ago, maybe a year. What did you crave back then? Who were you trying to impress? What battles were you fighting? And now, do those things even matter the way they once did? Probably not. Because when you start evolving, the old priorities start losing their grip. You begin to care less about being liked and more about being free. Less about fitting in and more about standing in your truth. And that's uncomfortable, isn't it? Because the people around you, some of them don't get it. They don't understand why you're quieter now. Why you're not showing up the way you used to. Why their approval doesn't light you up anymore. They might even call you distant, cold, selfish. But listen to me, that's not selfishness. That's self-respect. That's clarity. The old you lived for validation. The old you needed to prove something. But that old you is fading. That old you served its purpose, but it can't lead where you're going. You've stepped into something deeper now. A space where you no longer chase what doesn't want to stay. A space where your energy feels too sacred to waste on things that drain you. This shift is why certain friendships suddenly feel different. Why certain conversations make you restless. Why your body tenses when you try to force what isn't aligned. It's not anxiety. It's not a problem to fix. It's awareness. It's your soul saying, this doesn't match me anymore. You've been conditioned to see endings as failure. But what if they're not? What if endings are proof that you've grown? Proof that you've raised your frequency so high that old situations simply can't hold you anymore? That's what's happening now. That's why people are falling away. That's why opportunities that once felt like blessings now feel like burdens. Not because something's wrong with you, but because something is finally right. And yes, it feels lonely sometimes. It feels strange to stand in this in-between space. The place where the old no longer fits, but the new hasn't fully formed yet. But that's where the magic happens. That's where transformation begins. Think of a seed underground. Does it look like progress when it's breaking through the soil? No, it looks like darkness. It looks like nothing. But deep beneath the surface, life is rearranging itself. And that's what's happening inside you. Everything is rearranging. The way you think, the way you speak, the way you move through the world. You started saying no without guilt. You started choosing peace over chaos. You started pulling back from conversations that go nowhere. And maybe some people don't like it. Maybe they're questioning you. But that's okay, because this shift isn't for them. It's for you. Here's something Carl Jung said. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you'll call it fate. That's what this shift is. It's you becoming conscious. It's you noticing patterns you used to ignore. It's you asking, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep giving my energy to what drains me? Why do I keep holding on to what hurts me? And for the first time, you're not just asking. You're changing. You're not reacting the way you used to. You're not jumping to explain yourself. You're not apologizing for every boundary. And that scares some people because they were attached to the version of you who always said yes, who always made herself small. But you're done shrinking. This shift is sacred. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's necessary. Because you can't create a new life with an old self. You can't step into abundance with a scarcity mindset. You can't call in healthy love while clinging to people who mistreat you. And deep down, you know that. That's why you're here. That's why this message feels like truth. So what do you do now? You keep honoring the shift. You keep choosing the new you, even when it feels lonely. You keep trusting the whispers, even when they don't make sense yet. Because those whispers are not random. They're the voice of your higher self guiding you forward. And hear me, it's okay if you don't have all the answers yet. It's okay if you don't know the full picture. You're not supposed to. You're not in the season of clarity. You're in the season of trust. And trust isn't passive. It's powerful. It's what turns uncertainty into alignment. Right now, Your only job is to keep listening to that quiet knowing inside you. The one that says, I deserve better. I am capable of more. I'm not here to settle. Because the truth is, the life you want, the relationships, the opportunities, the peace, it's already aligning with you. It's not waiting for you to hustle harder. It's waiting for you to keep trusting, to keep holding the frequency that matches it. And you're doing that right now. Every time you choose yourself, you raise your frequency. Every time you walk away from what doesn't honor you, you open space for what does. Every time you let go of what isn't working, you tell the universe, I'm ready for something better. So breathe. Stop doubting this shift. Stop thinking you're lost just because the old life is falling apart. You're not lost. You're becoming. Stay with me. Because in the next section, we're going to talk about why this breaking apart is necessary and why the clearing you're experiencing is the greatest blessing you never asked for. Let me tell you something that most people don't want to hear. Before your life comes together, it often falls apart. And right now, that's what you might be feeling, the unraveling. The relationships that no longer fit. The opportunities that once felt like blessings suddenly feeling heavy. The silence where there used to be noise. The distance between you and people who used to be close. You might think something's wrong with you, that you've lost your spark, that life has slowed down because you're failing. But hear this truth. This is not failure. This is clearing. This is space being made for what you've been asking for. You see, you've been manifesting something bigger, haven't you? You've been praying for better. You've been asking for peace, love, abundance, alignment. And here's what you need to understand. You can't hold on to the old and expect the new to flow in. The two can't coexist. Something has to go. Imagine this. You're holding a cup full of muddy water, and you say, I want it to be clear and pure. You can't just add clean water on top and expect it to change. No, the muddy water has to be poured out first. That's what's happening in your life right now. The universe is pouring out what no longer serves you. The habits, the relationships, the patterns, the illusions. And it feels uncomfortable because you've held on for so long. Here's the truth. Some people were never meant to stay. Some doors were never meant to remain open. And some versions of you were never meant to last forever. But because you're human, because you crave certainty, you've clung to things long after their season ended. And now the universe is stepping and saying, if you won't release it, I will. Does it hurt? Yes. Does it feel like loss? Absolutely. But here's what you need to know. This is not loss, it's alignment. This is not punishment, it's preparation. This is life clearing the clutter so that when the blessing comes, you have room for it. Carl Jung once said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. And that's what this season feels like, doesn't it? A little painful, a little uncertain, like you're walking through a hallway with no doors yet. But that's because the clearing always comes before the building. The dismantling always comes before the creating. You've prayed for clarity, and now clarity is coming. Not through answers, but through removal. You asked for better, and now better is being prepared. Not by adding, but by subtracting. That's how the universe works. It doesn't just pile blessings on top of chaos. It creates order. It creates space. And right now, that's what's happening to you. Think about the things you've been losing interest in. The things that no longer excite you. That's not laziness. That's your soul saying, we're done here. We've outgrown this. Think about the people who've been drifting away. That's not rejection. That's redirection. You're being moved into rooms they can't enter, into frequencies they can't match. And it's not because they're bad. It's because they're not aligned with where you're going. And yes, it feels lonely sometimes. You wonder, why am I pulling back? Why do I feel disconnected? Why can't I enjoy what I used to? But the truth is that loneliness is sacred. It's the quiet between the old and the new. It's the space where your soul gets strong enough to hold what's coming next. Here's the hardest part. You can't rush this. You can't force this. You can't cling to what's leaving and expect what's coming to arrive. You have to trust the process, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Because something is happening. Beneath the surface, things are aligning. Energy is rearranging. People are being shifted. Opportunities are being orchestrated. And you don't see it yet, but one day you will. And when you do, it will make sense why the old had to fall apart first. So if you're in a season where things feel uncertain, where doors are closing, where people are walking away, let me tell you something. Celebrate that. Not because it feels good, but because it means the next chapter is close. It means the old story is ending and the new one is about to begin. When you look back on your life, you'll see that every ending was really a beginning. Every loss led to something better. Every closed door pushed you toward a bigger one. And this time will be no different. So let the clearing happen. Stop trying to glue back pieces that are meant to break. Stop running after people who were never meant to stay. Stop questioning why it's happening and start trusting that it's happening for you, not to you. Because here's the truth. The version of you who will live your dream life, the one with peace, abundance, and joy, that version cannot live in your old environment. It cannot survive in the chaos you outgrew. And that's why this shift is necessary. So breathe. Let it all fall away if it needs to. Let the clearing make space for your becoming. Because what's coming next will not require you to beg for it. It will not require you to shrink for it. It will not require you to sacrifice yourself to keep it. It will flow. It will align. And it will feel like home. Stay with me, because in the next section, we're going to talk about that next version of you. The one that's waiting on the other side of this clearing. The one you've been stepping into without even realizing it. And trust me, you're going to love who you're becoming. Take a deep breath and ask yourself this. Who am I becoming? Not who the world told you to be. Not who your past shaped you to be. Not who fear has kept you from becoming. Who are you really? That question, that truth, is what this season is about. You've been so focused on what you're losing, what's leaving, what's ending, that you haven't fully realized what's being born. Because something inside you has shifted, hasn't it? A quiet strength, a calm certainty. A voice that says, I will never go back to who I was. You've spent years molding yourself to fit in. Saying yes when you wanted to scream no. Shrinking so others could feel comfortable. Dimming your light so no one accused you of shining too bright. But deep down, you always knew you were meant for more. You were meant for depth, for truth, for alignment. And now, finally, you're stepping into that. This becoming isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's subtle. It's in the way you no longer explain every boundary. It's in the way you choose peace over chaos without guilt. It's in the way you pause before reacting, the way you trust your intuition even when logic screams otherwise. That's not weakness. That's mastery. That's evolution. Becoming isn't about adding more. It's about peeling away everything that isn't you. The masks, the roles, the conditioning, the stories you inherited that never belonged to you. You've carried so much, expectations from family, pressure from society, labels that never fit. And for years, you believed them. You thought you had to be perfect to be loved, productive to be worthy, pleasing to be safe. But that was never truth. That was programming. And now, you're rewriting the code. You're breaking generational patterns without even realizing it. Every time you choose self-respect over self-sacrifice, you're healing more than yourself. You're healing the lineage of women who were told to stay small. Every time you choose faith over fear, you're rewriting the story for everyone who came before you and everyone who comes after. That's the weight of this becoming. It's not small. It's sacred. But here's what they don't tell you about becoming. It's lonely. It's messy. It's terrifying. Because the moment you decide to become your true self, everything that's false starts falling away. And at first, it feels like loss. But stay with it. Because on the other side of that loss is liberation. You're going to wake up one day and realize you don't crave what you used to. You don't tolerate what you once begged for. You don't need the validation you once chased. And that day, you'll feel lighter than you've ever felt. Because you'll understand what real freedom is. Freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's not chaos. It's clarity. It's knowing who you are so deeply that you can't be shaken by opinions, by circumstances, by fear. And that's where you're headed. Think about it. The old you spent nights overthinking texts, craving attention from people who didn't deserve access to your energy. The old you begged for scraps, tolerated disrespect, stayed quiet to keep the peace. But the new you? She doesn't beg. She doesn't chase. She doesn't explain her worth to anyone. She knows that what's meant for her will never require her to betray herself. That's the woman you're becoming. The one who radiates so much peace that chaos can't touch her. The one who walks away from what doesn't feel aligned. Not because she's heartless, but because she finally loves herself enough to choose differently. And here's the truth. This version of you already exists. She's not a fantasy. She's not a future dream. She's inside you right now, waiting for permission to lead. And every time you choose silence over reaction, rest over burnout, alignment over approval, you give her that permission. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." That's what you're doing now. You're reclaiming your power. You're coming home to yourself. And that is the most important work you will ever do. But here's the thing, you can't do it halfway. You can't become while still clinging to the old identity. You have to let it die. And that's the hardest part. Because the old you, as much as she hurt you, kept you safe. She was survival. She was armor. And now you're removing that armor. You're standing bare, exposed, vulnerable. But that's where your power is, in the naked truth of your soul. And yes, some people will leave. Some people will say you've changed, and they're right. You have. Because the woman you're becoming can't be who she was. She can't keep living on crumbs. She can't keep dimming her light. She can't keep playing small just to make others comfortable. She has a bigger mission. And that mission starts now. So stop waiting for permission. Stop asking if you're ready. You're ready. You've always been ready. In this season of becoming, it's proof. It's evidence that your soul is done settling. Stay close, because in the next section, we're going to talk about the hardest part of all, trust. How to stop forcing, stop hustling, stop micromanaging, and start allowing the universe to meet you halfway. Because alignment isn't about control. It's about surrender. And that's where your greatest power lives. Here's a truth most people avoid. Becoming who you are meant to be isn't about doing more. It's about trusting more. And trust, real trust, is not easy. Because trust asks you to let go of control. Trust asks you to surrender your timelines, your plans, your constant need to see proof before you believe. You've been taught that if you're not hustling, you're falling behind. That if you're not pushing, you're failing. That if you're not in control, everything will fall apart. But here's the paradox. The more you try to control, the more resistance you create. The tighter you grip, the less room there is for what's meant for you to flow in. Think about water for a second. You can't hold it by squeezing your hand tighter. The harder you try, the more it slips away. But when you open your hand, when you trust, it stays. That's how energy works. That's how manifestation works. That's how alignment works. Trust doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing your part and then releasing the outcome. It means taking inspired action without obsessing over the result. It means showing up fully for what you can control, your energy, your focus, your choices, and letting the rest go. That's hard, isn't it? Because your mind wants certainty. It wants guarantees. It wants to know when, how, who, and what. And when it doesn't have those answers, it panics. It spins stories like, what if it doesn't happen? What if I'm wasting my time? What if I fail? But those thoughts are not truth. They're fear. Here's something Carl Jung said. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Fear lives in the unconscious. And as long as you let fear drive, you'll keep trying to force what was never meant to be forced. You'll keep chasing what was meant to find you. So how do you build trust? You start small. You start with awareness. You notice when you're spiraling, when you're overthinking, when you're trying to micromanage everything. And in that moment, you pause. You breathe. You remind yourself, I've done my part. Now I allow the rest to unfold. This doesn't mean sitting back passively. It doesn't mean abandoning your dreams. It means moving from a place of certainty rather than desperation. It means saying, I trust that what's meant for me is already on its way. I don't need to chase it. I don't need to beg for it. I don't need to exhaust myself trying to make it happen. When you trust, your energy shifts. You become magnetic. You stop radiating neediness and start radiating confidence. And the universe responds to that. People respond to that. Opportunities respond to that. Because energy doesn't lie. Have you ever noticed how the moment you stop obsessing over something, it finally happens? The call comes. The money shows up. The person texts. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. That's the power of trust. But let's be honest, trust isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it feels like waiting in the dark. Sometimes it feels like silence when you want answers. And that silence? It can feel unbearable if you let your mind run wild. But listen to me. The silence is sacred. It's not emptiness. It's incubation. It's the space where seeds sprout before they break the surface. And here's something most people never tell you. The universe doesn't operate on your timeline. It operates on alignment. It doesn't care about your deadlines. It cares about your energy. And if your energy says, I'm desperate, I don't trust, I need this now, or else, you're pushing your blessing away. Because that frequency doesn't match abundance. It matches lack. Trust is an energy. And it sounds like this. I know it's coming, even if I can't see it yet. I know I'm supported, even if I don't feel it yet. I know the timing is perfect, even if it looks delayed. That's trust. And when you live in that space, everything shifts. Here's a mantra I want you to carry with you. I release control. I trust the timing. I allow what's mine to flow freely to me. Say it, write it, breathe it, because every time you repeat those words, you're retraining your mind to surrender instead of spiral. And let me tell you something, the moment you truly let go, not pretend to, but actually let go, you'll feel it in your body. It's like an exhale you didn't know you were holding. It's peace. It's lightness. It's the moment you stop asking when and start saying whenever it's right, I'm ready. That readiness, that openness, that's what pulls miracles in. Not the constant checking, not the anxious refreshing, not the begging the universe for a sign, but the quiet confidence that says, it's already done. I don't need to chase it. I just need to stay aligned with it. And here's the most beautiful part. When you trust, you start enjoying life again. You stop living in the future and start living in the now. You notice the small blessings. You feel grateful for what's here, even while you're excited for what's coming. And that gratitude, it multiplies your blessings. Because gratitude is the language of abundance. So ask yourself right now, where am I still holding on too tightly? Where am I trying to force what should flow? Where am I letting fear drive when I should let trust lead? And then make the decision. Today, I choose trust over control. Because here's the truth. Everything you want, peace, love, success, abundance, it's already on its way. Your only job is to stay aligned long enough to receive it. Stay with me, because in the next section, we're going to talk about the next step after trust, alignment. How to match your energy to what you want so that it flows to you effortlessly. Because trust opens the door, but alignment keeps it wide open. If trust is the foundation, alignment is the structure you build on top of it. Because trusting the universe is powerful, but trust alone without alignment is like planting seeds in dry soil. You need the right environment, the right energy for those seeds to grow. So what does alignment actually mean? It means your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are moving in the same direction as what you desire. It means you're not asking for abundance while thinking thoughts of lack. It means you're not asking for love while entertaining people who don't value you. It means you're not saying you trust timing while obsessively checking if it's working. Alignment isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about matching the frequency of what you want. And frequency? That's just energy. Everything is energy. Your thoughts, your emotions, your words, your choices, they all carry a vibration. And the universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to the energy you live in. Let's break this down. If you want peace, but keep surrounding yourself with chaos, you're out of alignment. If you want love, but keep settling for crumbs, you're out of alignment. If you want abundance, but speak constantly about how broke you are, you're out of alignment. And here's the truth. It's not punishment. It's feedback. Your outer world reflects your inner state. So how do you align? You start by asking, if I already had what I want, how would I think? How would I feel? How would I act? And then you start living from that place. Not someday, not when it shows up, but now. Because here's the secret. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. You attract what matches your state of being. So if you want love, be love. If you want abundance, live from abundance. If you want peace, embody peace. But let's be real, it's not always easy, because your mind will fight you. It will scream, how can I feel abundant when my bank account is empty? How can I feel loved when I'm alone? How can I feel peace when everything feels uncertain? And that's where alignment becomes a practice, not a performance. It's not about denying reality. It's about choosing the frequency of your future over the evidence of your past. You do in small ways. Gratitude is one. Start appreciating what's here, even if it's not everything you want yet. Gratitude shifts your frequency instantly. Another way, your language. Stop speaking words that contradict your vision. Stop saying, nothing ever works out for me. Start saying, everything is always working out in my favor. It's not blind optimism, it's alignment. And then there's your environment. Who are you spending time with? What are you consuming? What are you allowing into your space? Because energy is contagious. If you're around people who drain you, who complain, who gossip, you'll feel it. And it will pull you out of alignment. Protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. Now, let's talk about your habits. If you want a new life, you need new patterns. Stop waiting for motivation. Start creating rituals that match your vision. That might mean waking up earlier to meditate. It might mean journaling your intentions. It might mean moving your body to shift stagnant energy. Alignment isn't a one-time thing. It's a lifestyle. And here's something crucial. Alignment is not about hustling harder. It's about flowing smarter. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things with the right energy. Because action without alignment is struggle. But action with alignment, that's power. That's when things start falling into place effortlessly. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you'll call it fate. Alignment is conscious living. It's making choices from awareness, not autopilot. It's catching yourself when you slip back into fear and saying, no, I choose faith. It's noticing when you're seeking validation and saying, no, I validate myself. It's about living deliberately, not reactively. So ask yourself right now, where am I out of alignment? Where are my actions contradicting my desires? Where am I speaking lack while praying for abundance? Where am I entertaining what I don't want while asking for what I do? Be honest, because awareness is the first step to change. And then decide, today I align. Today, I think like the version of me who already has it. Today, I act like her. Today, I show up for my future self, not my old self. Because that decision, repeated daily, changes everything. And here's the magic. When you align, life starts aligning back. People show up. Opportunities open. Resources appear. Not because you forced it, but because you matched it. That's why alignment is so powerful. It's the bridge between trust and manifestation. Stay close, because in the final section, we're going to talk about receiving. Because you can trust, you can align, but if you're not open to receiving, you'll block the very blessings you've been calling in. And I promise you, the last part is where the biggest breakthroughs happen. You've trusted, you've aligned. Now comes the most overlooked, most misunderstood part of the process, receiving. Because here's the truth. You can pray for blessings, visualize abundance, journal every day, trust the timing, and align your energy. But if you don't allow yourself to receive, nothing sticks. Receiving sounds simple, doesn't it? But for so many people, it's the hardest part. Why? Because somewhere deep down, you don't feel worthy. You think you have to earn it. You think you need to struggle first. You think you need to hustle until you break. And even when the blessing shows up, you sabotage it. You delay it. You tell yourself, it's too good to be true. Sound familiar? That's the old programming speaking. That's the part of you still living in lack. The part that believes you're only valuable when you're exhausted. The part that thinks ease is a luxury you haven't earned yet. But listen to me, those stories are lies. And they're blocking your flow. Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And who you truly are. Someone who is worthy right now. Not someday. Not when you achieve something. Not when you prove something. Now, receiving is about stepping into that worthiness. It's about saying, yes, I allow this. Yes, I deserve this. Yes, I'm ready to hold this. Without guilt. Without apology. without fear. But here's the paradox. Receiving isn't passive. It's not sitting on the couch waiting for miracles to land in your lap. It's active. It's energetic. It's saying yes when opportunities come, even when they scare you. It's raising your standards and not settling for less than what aligns with your soul. It's speaking up for what you want without shrinking. And most importantly, it's learning how to hold what you receive. Because so many people can attract blessings, but they can't sustain them. They manifest the job, but sabotage it with doubt. They attract the relationship, but ruin it with fear. Why? Because their nervous system isn't calibrated to safety in abundance. They're still addicted to chaos. So how do you change that? You expand your capacity to receive. You do it by slowly teaching your body, your mind, your energy that it's safe to hold more. That it's safe to feel good without waiting for the other shoe to drop. Here's a practice for you. Every day, ask yourself, where am I already receiving? It could be as simple as a smile from a stranger, a moment of quiet, an unexpected compliment. Then, instead of brushing it off, anchor it. Feel it. Say, I receive this fully. Because the more you practice receiving the small things, the easier it becomes to hold the big things. Next, pay attention to where you're resisting. Do you downplay compliments? Do you say, you didn't have to, when someone gives you something? Do you feel uncomfortable when good things happen? That's resistance. And every time you reject the small, you're teaching the universe you're not ready for the big. Shift it. Next time someone offers you help, accept it. Next time someone compliments you, smile and say, thank you. Next time something good happens, instead of saying, this won't last, say more of this, please. Because the universe expands what you celebrate. And here's the key. Receiving isn't about greed. It's about flow. When you receive fully, you create overflow. And that overflow blesses others. Think about it. When you're abundant, you're generous. When you're loved, you love better. When you're at peace, you radiate peace. So stop thinking receiving is selfish. It's sacred. But let me warn you, this stage will trigger people. When you start receiving without guilt, when you stop overgiving, when you stop apologizing for wanting more, some people will call you selfish. Some people will say you've changed. And they're right. You have. Because you've stopped playing small. You've stopped begging for scraps when you were born for a feast. And that's the final piece of this journey. You're not here to scrape by. You're not here to settle. You're here to thrive. You're here to experience the fullness of what life can offer. But you can't do that if you keep blocking your blessings with doubt, fear, and guilt. So ask yourself right now, what am I ready to receive? Love? Money? Peace? Opportunity? And then say it out loud. I am ready. I am worthy. I allow this in now. Say it again. Write it down. Feel it. Because that declaration, it's a signal. And the universe responds to signals more than words. You've done the work. You've trusted. You've aligned. You've healed. Now your only job is to stay open, to let it in, to believe that it can be easy. Because it can, and it will. This message didn't find you by accident. It's not random that you're reading this. It's a sign. Your time is now. Your season is here. And everything you've been asking for, it's closer than you think. All you need to do is open your hands, open your heart, and whisper, yes. Because this is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of everything.